Good evening, everyone. It's a beautiful day. I want to thank God for another opportunity I have today to be able to come to you under the auspices of Awaken the Leadership in You, our mental empowerment weekly teaching of Leadership in You ministry, a ministry of Kingdom Reina, to be able to do book summaries that may help us to be mentally stimulated and empowered to be able to play our role well in life. I want to say a big thank you to God who had given us the opportunity to be able to do this in and out, who has been able to help us to be able to do this actually and be able to grow in knowledge as we consider key people who have been able to write and put things down, pen things down for us. I once heard a man of God saying he went to Australia, and there was a man there who wrote a book. I can't remember what the name of the man is, and he asked his assistant to get the book, and the book was going for £75 per copy. But the assistant said, £75 a copy of a book, isn't that too much? He was mad with his assistant, his personal assistant, for questioning his wisdom in wanting to buy the man's book. So he said, do you know what that means? It means the man's life experience is put together and the man is selling it for £75. Do you want me to live the same kind of life he has lived to be able to get the kind of wisdom he has put in the book? So the man was looking at the price of the book, but the personal assistant was looking at the price of the book, but the man of God was looking at the value of the book. There are two different things. The value cannot be quantified. Yea, a minimal price was put on it, but it cannot be quantified in the sense of the many years that went into gaining the experience to write that book, the wisdom, the vicissitudes, overcoming the vicissitudes of life that eventually culminated in the writing of the book. So also it is what we are doing here with the mental empowerment is to be able to glean from the depth of wisdom of many of these authors. We may never meet them physically, but the amazing thing is that they have put down their wisdom into a book. They have compressed into a book in the same fashion. Well, I can't say in the same fashion, but in the same manner in which we have the books of the Bible given unto us by God. Can you imagine if God had not asked those people to put it down in writing? It will not be blessings for us today. That all the words he spoke to them, write it down. we will not be enjoying those things today. We will just discover, in fact, they will not be passed down. But thank God we have those books today that are a blessing to us and that can that are changing lives, because the breath of the Spirit of God is upon those things which we are reading in the Word of God. However, on Wednesday we do this, what is called empowerment, focusing solely on the Bible. Again, I have to reiterate this so that we can get our focus right, because the whole ethos of our ministry is about empowerment. It's about equipping, enriching, and enabling you to play your role well. It's a teaching church. We trust God to make us apostolic so that we break fallow grounds in the nations of the world. But He's the one who calls, is the one who equips, is the one who prepares, and is the one who launches. So at His right time, He will let the apostolic grace really rest on us, and He will catapult us to the nations. But meanwhile, while He has placed us at the moment, we can only operate within the realm and capacity, within the office He's given to us to do, to occupy, and that's the office of a teaching office. A Bible teaching church is what our church is about. And this entails not only just looking at spiritual empowerment, but looking at mental empowerment, financial empowerment, all ramifications of empowerment, so that we can play our game well in life and can fulfill the destiny of God for our life. So without much ado, we resume the Awaken the Leadership in You today, and we will not be able to do it next week, because we have a 7-day praying and fasting, which we have called Let It Rain, and it's just going to be for 7 days, 1 hour every day, having this broadcast with you, in which we are going to be exploring the significance of Pentecost in prayer and fasting for our days. Meaning, we are going to be asking God to send down the rain of His presence and power upon us. We're going to be asking Him to open the floodgate of heaven upon us, because we want to align with the program of heaven. Pentecost is approaching, a commemoration of the Pentecost that led to the outpouring of the Spirit of God in the 1st century is approaching. And so, as we commemorate that, we're asking God, Lord, let it rain again. Send the rain again. Send the rain of revival. Send the rain of your presence upon us again. And we trust Him that He will do that. But we need to continue with our study of the new book. We are starting a new book, and the new book that we are starting today, I believe, is going to be of a great blessing to you. But prior to that, I want us to quickly have a talk or a review of some of the books we have done. You know, we started this program about a year ago, 10 months, so to say, particularly. Started July 2020, and I was going through each of the books that we have gone through, and it's amazing with what I saw in some of what we have really gone through. Oh, unfortunately, this thing is so tiny that I'm not able to show to you the full thing of what we have already gone through. But I trust God that it will be able to, I can read it out to you so that you can see it, because we have had to focus on, some of the books that we have read in the past 1 year. We have looked at, I think we started off with the 11 keys of leadership. Or it may be too tiny, even for me myself, to even read it. But we started with the 11 keys of leadership, where we look at the essential leadership skills at your fingertips. Essential leadership skills at your fingertips. And then we also look at the power thinking, where we are able to look at I'm actually trying to read the whole thing now, but give me a moment, I'll find it out. Unfortunately, I did not save it on. I didn't save it on. Okay, anyway, without much ado, let me just continue with that. But we have had a look at 9 books actually. We've had a look at 9 books. We have the power thinking, the essential 11 keys of leadership, the power thinking. We also have looked at thinking for a change, the thinking for a change. And we're thinking for a change was written by John Maxwell. And we also have looked at learning leadership, and we also have looked at what we have looked at the dichotomy of leadership. We have looked at your best year ever. We looked at principles by Ray Dalio. We have looked at hyperfocus, and now the 10th one. This is the 10th book that we are going to be starting today, and that book is titled How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an all-time classic manual of people skills. You know, the truth of the matter is that in life, the most important skills that you and I need is the keys to know how to work together, how to live peaceably with one another, how to make life easy for one another. People skills is a lifetime skills that you and I can never do without, because without these people skills, everything will fall apart. Everything will fall apart. People skills, I must say, are the most needed skills, because dealing with people is probably the biggest challenge everybody faces, no matter your occupation, no matter your goals, no matter your ambitions. So, and by applying the principles of how to win friends and influence people in the book that we are going to be summarizing, you can increase your confidence, your influence, and your effectiveness. You will learn how to get others working alongside you instead of pulling in their own direction. And by taking the time and effort to learn how to better interact with people around us, will increase our ability to do anything we want to do. You know, the greatest resources you would ever have are not the diamond mines of South Africa. They are not the oil of Kuwait or Saudi Arabia. The greatest resources you would ever have are people. The greatest asset anyone would ever have is a people. Having a people around you with what is inside of them to leverage your lifting, and for them to also leverage your presence is the most important thing. So sometimes when a woman or a man or anyone is broken, it's not because stones and sticks and axes have broken us, but the relationship has gone sour. The relationship has broken us. And when you have the relationship broken, you have people broken. When you have a broken relationship, it is not the relation, it is the cementing of that relationship that has gone missing. And therefore, it is the people that becomes affected. Maybe if you could get the skill of how to win friends and influence people positively, you will value what I'm talking about today. This book has been has been in existence for as long as I can remember. Before I was born was written. I think it was written during the times of depression in 1920s in America by Dale Carnegie. So it's become the manual of people skills, the manual of people's relationship, the manual of negotiation, the manual of winning people onto your side without necessarily compromising your values. So this is what we're going to start looking into from today, and this is going to take us for quite a while because there are many parts to the book. We have close to 4 to 5 parts in the book that one sitting may just do justice with one part, because there is a lot to the book, and it sounds like the book of common sense, but you know the common sense is not common really. And my uncle used to say that. He said common sense is not common. If it was common, we wouldn't have all this mess that we have around people's lives, we have around people's homes, around people's jobs, how people are naughty and nasty to one another. It's because common sense is not common. So we're going to look at the structure of this book, and the structure basically is that it's broken into 4 parts, and each part has subsections that we will look at as we continue to look into this book. I haven't got many slides to share today, but the slides we have will help us to be able to have a grasp of what this thing is all about. So now the first part of these slides is that the part 1 has to do with the fundamental techniques in handling people. Some of my my posture frame and my speech frame is covering some part of it, but what is there particularly is that we have fundamental techniques in handling people, and that fundamental techniques in handling people that this book shows. In fact, this book also is in audio format. It's in MP3. I think also is in CDs, but the world is moving away from CDs now. Even Blu-ray, people are not even using Blu-ray technology again for watching movies and all that. And Netflix disrupted the CDs audio technology industry. However, you could still get the book. Some people can't move away from the hard book. They don't even want e-book. You can get it from Amazon, buy it, read it, it will bless you. You can get the audio format also, the MP3 of it from Amazon. It will be of a great blessing to you. So today we're going to start with the part 1 of the book, looking at what is the content of part 1 of the book. And as you can see on the screen right now, in looking at the fundamental techniques in handling people. And if you're thinking handling people, it also means what people will also need to handle you. It goes in both directions. You want to handle people, and people also want to handle you. So, but let's focus on yourself. Let's focus on yourself as a person and see, what do you need to acquire as skills that will help you to handle people well, that people will want to be in your circle, people will want to be in your catchment area, people will want to be influenced by you, would deliberately want to come into your circle of influence so you can influence them. You must be carrying something. You must be carrying something that will want them to do that. And so the first thing that this book says is among the fundamental techniques in handling people is that if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. That is, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. When you get the urge to criticize someone, stop and try to figure out why they say the things they do. Criticism never achieves a positive result. Now, I know there is also a difference between positive criticism and negative criticism. You must be able to delineate between the two. You must be able to differentiate, and we must become, I will say this, that it's best to become your own critic, best critic, than for others to become your critic. Because others will see your blind spot, but you need to see the spot in which you yourself can see. Because you can't use other people's eyes to see what you ought to see. You can only use other people's eyes to see what you cannot see. And so, people never criticize themselves, but always rationalize that they are forced to act the way they do by factors beyond their control. What that means is this: people give excuses for their actions, but condemn easy to criticize other people for the same actions. So criticism is futile because it immediately puts the other person on the defensive. If somebody criticizes you, you will want to defend your corner. So criticism is dangerous as it fosters resentment that can smother for years and come back to haunt us at the worst possible moment. In the long run, the short-term satisfaction is not worth the long-term pain. The short-term satisfaction is not worth the long-term. I don't even think there's any short-term satisfaction in criticizing others. Some people are good. Some people will set themselves up to be critic of others, and yet when you look at themselves, you will discover that they are not playing their game well. But it all stems from our upbringing sometimes, and if you have been criticized all your life, the only best compliment you can give to somebody else is to criticize them too. But thank God for the grace of God. You can change. You don't have to remain the way you are born. You can be reborn. If you are born in a certain way that has negative connotations all around it, you can get yourself reborn. You can retrain yourself through the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ. Many studies show that people respond more completely to positive rewards than to negative scolding. Whenever you get the urge to correct someone through criticism, start on yourself. From a purely selfish point of view, you will gain much more. So people are creatures of logic, not reason. People are filled with passions, prejudices, and contradictions. Why try to deal with a matter of emotion through the logic of reason? It just won't work. It just won't work. People that have been married for years will understand this. If they have refused to understand this, then they would have been living with strife all their lives. That both man and woman don't approach the same issue from the same perspective. A man, not necessarily, there are always exceptions to every rule, would approach issue from a logical point of view completely. And the woman, most times, will approach it from an emotional point of view. We will approach it from an emotional point of view, and that will create clash, and it does create clash all the time. But wise is the man who recognizes this, or a woman who also recognizes this, and give room for one another. So criticism will not help you in winning people to yourself or influence them positively. Now, key thought around this particular skill is that God himself, Dr. Johnson said, God himself, sir, does not propose to judge man until the end of his days. Confucius, that's a Chinese philosopher, says, don't complain about the snow on your neighbor's roof when your own doorstep is unclean. And another wise man, Carlyle, says, a great man shows his greatness by the way he treats little men. By the way he treats little men. I came from a culture whereby there's a lot of looking down on people who are disadvantaged in life. And the way they are treated is as if they are not human. When you look at the culture around house help within my background, the background of my upbringing, house helps are treated as if they don't have a future. And you begin to wonder, it was not their making, it was just unfortunate that they were born into a poor family that necessitated them becoming house helps for others that are more privileged. The book of Proverbs speaks into that a lot. That if you treat your servant like a son, you will have him as a son eventually. So we can give hope to those who don't seem to have hope by treating them right. Okay. Now, the second technique under part 1 of how to win friends and influence people is that the big secret of dealing, what is the big secret of dealing with people? Is to give honest and sincere appreciation. Honest and sincere appreciation. And the main idea around this is that people don't have many wants. But what they want deep down, they crave with all their hearts. Herein lies the key in dealing with other people. Find out what it is they really want and show them how to get it. Do this for a person and they will move mountains for you. Like this now, you are looking for some of the things we are doing with empowering you. People want to be empowered. And when you put programs in place to help people to empower without taking advantage of them, they will keep coming back because they know the values that are being communicated onto them. Now, around this skill is the idea that if our ancestors had not had a burning desire for a feeling of importance, civilization would not have been possible. We will be acting just like animals. We can find out from what source a person draws their own personal feeling of importance. We have the key to their character. Again, the big secret of dealing with people: give honest and sincere appreciation. Can you imagine the power that you hold in your control when you give people heartfelt appreciation and recognition? Correctly, if you use it correctly, people become highly motivated to help you do anything you want. Flattery is a pale shadow of honest appreciation, and people see right through it. The difference between flattery and appreciation is that flattery comes from the teeth out, while appreciation comes from the heart. Flattery is telling the other person exactly what he wants to hear. Don't flatter people because you don't want to be flattered too. But if you love deceiving yourself, then you will enjoy flattery. Every man I meet, Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, a philosopher as well, says, every man I meet is my superior in some way. In that, I learn of him. I learn of him and I learn from him. Okay? And there's an anonymous saying to buttress this, that there is a big secret of dealing with people in giving them honest and sincere appreciation. If you try, you can work out the good points in every person who crosses your path. All it takes is a bit of effort and the right attitude. An anonymous person says, I shall pass this way but once. Any good therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. Charles Schwab, one of the most successful American businessmen of the 1930s. Remember, this book is written around in the 20s and 30s, 40s of America. It was much relevant to that period in American history, because they are just coming out of depression. They're just coming out of economic depression, a terrible glut in the American economy. So Charles Schwab, who came out of the whole economic meltdown of the 30s and the 20s, says, I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among my people the greatest asset I possess. And the way to develop the best that is in a person is by appreciation and encouragement. Years ago, a teacher in Detroit asked Steve Morris to help her find a mouse that was lost in the classroom. She knew Stevie had a marvelous gift of hearing to compensate for his blindness. This was the first time Stevie was shown appreciation for his gift, and it was the beginning of a new life for him. He went on to become Stevie Wonder, one of the most successful singers and songwriters of all time. And it all began with a little appreciation. So those who have disabilities in one way have it compensated for in another way. So, and all of us have one disability or the other, one way or the other, one way or the other. Some disabilities are just hidden, some are obvious. But we're living in a fallen world in which every one of us has a measure of a disadvantage, of a disability. But then it's also compensated for in other areas of strength, in other areas of gifts. So, to those whose disabilities are quite obvious, we mustn't put them down. We must help them to discover other areas. That's exactly what happened to Stevie Wonder here. Thank God for teachers. I was watching Ian Wright, a program by Ian Wright as well, of his upbringing of abuse by his stepfather, and of mental, emotional abuse by his mother as well. And that created an anger issue in him that he displayed on many occasions during his times of playing for Arsenal. Yeah, it was good. It's a documentary program. It's a documentary run by BBC. And he said only one teacher, Mr. Pigden, was the one who believed in him, who treated him like somebody. And eventually he met Mr. Pigden and he was crying because he could never forget Mr. Pigden. So, what this is saying is this. There is a way to people's hearts, and the way to their heart is by giving honest and sincere appreciation to them. Now, the third one, or part one of this book, is that he who can do what number 2 has said has the whole world with him. He who cannot walk, he who cannot walks alone, it walks a lonely way. What are we talking about? Arousing in the other person an eager want. Arousing in the other person an eager want. I remember a portion of scriptures in Proverbs chapter 20, if I'm right, I think it's in verse 5. I think it's in verse 5, Romans chapter 20 verse 5. He says, the counsel of the Lord in a man's heart is like deep waters. Proverbs 20 verse 5. I should think that's where it is. Yeah, that's it. The counsel in the heart of man is like deep waters, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Who is the man of understanding? The one who has a counsel on his side, or the one who helps to draw the counsel in another person's heart out? It doesn't matter whether it's a man who has the counsel in his heart, like deep waters, or somebody else who comes to help him to draw it out. What he's saying is that arousing in another person's heart an eager want will have you walk with people. You have the whole world beating the path to your house. So a key principle in influencing people positively, in winning friends, is to talk in terms of what people want, to see things the way they see them. I once remember a saying, don't seek to be understood first, seek to understand the others first before you are understood. But we always forget that. We would rather want to be understood first before we can understand others. And it's a panacea for trouble. It's a panacea for disaster. It's a panacea for destroying relationships. It's a panacea for creating strife. So there is a supporting idea around this. Every act every person performs is because of some desire, something they want. Therefore, if you are smart, instead of talking in terms of what you want, always talk in terms of what your listener wants. You can get anything you want in life if you just help enough other people get what they want out of life. That sounds like the words of Jesus that says, is there anyone among you that wants to be the greatest? Let him be the servant of all. In other words, give service and product to other people what they want, and you will emerge to be the greatest, because you will have served more people than anybody else. Next time you set out to get someone else to do something, stop and ask yourself, how can I make this person want to do it for themselves? What motivating factor can I introduce to the equation to motivating this person to do what he ought to do? So find the answer to that, and you are well on your way to influencing that person. 6 people fall when they are thinking of only what they want. They don't realize that nobody wants to buy anything. As if they did, they will go out and buy one. But everybody is eternally interested in solving their problems. And if a salesperson can show us how to do that with a product, we won't need to be sold. We will rush out and buy one. If you always try to see things from the other person's point of view, from their angle, you won't have much competition in any sales career. Whenever we have a brilliant idea, instead of making others think it is ours, let them cook and start the idea themselves. They will then regard it as their own. They will like it and eat a couple of helpings. Wow. So self-expression is the dominant necessity of human nature. William Winter says that. And another man, Overstreet, says, action springs out of what you fundamentally desire, and the best place of advice which can be given to would-be persuaders, whether in business, in the home, in the school, in politics, is first aroused in the other person an eager want. He who can do this has the whole world with him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. Henry Overstreet. Henry Ford, the father of Ford cars, said this: if there is any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. Wendy Young also says this: people who can put themselves in the place of other people, who can understand the workings of their minds, need never worry about what the future has in store for them. Need never worry about what the future has in store for them. In other words, help as many people as possible to get what they want, and you will have what you want. Think in terms of what can I do that's going to create values for the people I'm serving, that's going to add more values to them. Or in my relationship, what else can I do? How can I help to move this person from 0 to 1 or to 2? This idea will bring money to your life, will bring reputation, will bring blessings, will bring prayers, will bring all the good things. Why? Yeah, there might be some hard situations where some people, no matter what, because of the depth of their pains and wounds, they may never see your good intention. They will always be rebuffing you, saying no, or pushing you off. They will always be saying, they don't trust your intention. They don't trust your action. But don't worry, it's an expression of deep-seated wounds and pains that needs, whose layers need to be uncovered and removed so that there could be total healing. We are all creatures that desire to be admired, that desire to be appreciated, that desire to be esteemed. If all these things that you desire or I desire, we can give to one another, we can influence each other positively. We can make a big difference in each other's life. Now, that is the end of part 1 of the book. I hope that blesses you for tonight. I want to go into the part 2 of the book, but I am also just thinking I may not be able to finish the whole lot of it today, but let me start with something, because the next time we're coming back to this is about 2 weeks time down, and that will be about 24, 25, 26, 27, 28th of May. 28th of May. So let me start the part 2 so that at least we have something started that can be continued during in another 2 weeks time, and that is looking at 6 ways to make people like you. 6 ways to make people like you. You want to be liked? If you do this, you will be welcome anywhere. And what is that? Genuinely be genuinely interested in other people. No faking it. The first thing of part 2 is looking at 6 ways to make people like you. So you must genuinely be interested in other people. If you are genuinely interested in the people you come in contact with, you will be welcomed with open arms. You can make more friends The first way is what I'm looking at now. You can make more friends in a short space of time by being genuinely interested in them than you can in an extremely long period of time by trying to get people interested in you. If we merely try to impress people and get them interested in us, we will never have many true, sincere friends. To make true friends, we have to put ourselves out for people by performing acts that are unselfish and thoughtful, that require time, energy, and effort on our part. So building a relationship actually takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of sacrifice. That's what that means. That's what I showed, that it takes a lot of sacrifice to build a great relationship. There's so much you have to put into play when you want to build a great relationship. And if you show genuine interest in other people, you will win friends. It will win friends for you, and also develop customers who are loyal to your company. If you show genuine interest in other people, that's what it's going to show for you. You will have long-term loyal friends, long-term loyal customers. You will also see that your show of interest, it must be genuine. It must be sincere and heartfelt, or you will do more damage than good in the long run. It must pay off not only for the person showing the interest and for the person receiving the attention. 2 easy ways to make friends are to always greet people with enthusiasm and to make a point of remembering people's birthdays. Little things like that can make a world of difference. Remembering to greet people. Even though you are husband and wife sleeping together on the same bed, learning to say good morning to one another is very good. It shows courtesy. It is very good. Good morning, my wife. Good morning, my husband. Some cultures will say the wife started for the husband, but doesn't matter who started really. Lest another third word emerges from that. Now, can't you say it to me first? You should not say it. Why are you waiting for me to say it first? Just say it. Good morning. Good morning to your children. When you learn to say good morning to your children, then you are teaching them to say good morning to you. That's what that means. If you greet people with enthusiasm and you make a point of remembering their special days, not only just birthdays, there will be special days that you are aware of to remember. Little things like that will make a world of difference. So it is the individual who is not interested in his fellow man who has the greatest difficulties in life. It is from among such individuals that all human features spring. Publius Cyrus says, we're interested in others when they are interested in us. So why don't you take the first step of showing interest in others? Because if you do this, you'll be welcome anywhere. Secondly, a simple way to make a good first impression. What is a simple way to make a good first impression? It's simple. Smile. Just smile. Remember the book we are looking at? We are looking at how to win friends and influence people by Dale Carnegie. And looking at the summary of this book helps us to be able to see how we can acquire people's skills that help build our relationship. We have looked at part 1 so far, and we are on to the second part where it highlights 6 ways to make people like you. You want to be liked, you have to show yourself likable. What you see in all these 6 ways is that the onus doesn't lie with the others. The onus lies with you. The onus lies with you. It lies with you taking the first step, that if you do this, you'll be welcome anywhere. If you show genuine interest in other people that you come in contact with, you'll be welcome with open arms. So it's not the case that people don't love me. You have to love people first. Because it's when you have thrown out your love to people that you can recognize when love is coming back to you. When you haven't thrown love out to other people, you will not recognize that they are showing love to you. You will only be rejecting any advances to show love to you. So it is very, very important that you understand this. Okay? Now, second way in which you make people to like you is smiling. It's a simple way to make a good first impression. A bright, cheerful smile is a great way to start. Actions speak louder than words, and a smile says, I like you, I am glad to see you. People rarely accuse at anything unless they are having fun doing it. They rarely succeed. I beg your pardon, not accuse. People rarely succeed at anything unless they are having fun doing it. So the effect of smile is powerful. Even when it is unseen, such as over the telephone, your smile is like a messenger of goodwill. It communicates a great feeling to everyone you come into contact with. It makes people feel good doing business with you. And it makes people like you, even strangers. It makes people like you. It makes people gravitate towards you, even strangers, because you smile at them. If you don't like smiling, force yourself to smile. Before long, you will actually begin to feel better simply because you are smiling. Remember that happiness does not depend on outward conditions. It reflects on how you feel inside. What you have or who you are with doesn't make you happy or unhappy. What you think about what you have or who you are with does. What you think about what you have or who you are with does. It's not other person that determines your happiness. It's you who determines your happiness. So a smile is the first impression you can ever make before anybody. Now, there's an ancient Chinese proverb that says, a man without a smiling face must not open a shop. That's right. It doesn't have good customer services culture. But when people treat you well, smile at you, yeah, it's the beginning of a good business. Abraham Lincoln says, most folks are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. Also, Shakespeare says, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So if you think good thoughts, you will feel happy. James McConnell says, people who smile tend to manage, teach, and sell more effectively, and to raise happier children. There is far more information in a smile than in a frown. That's why encouragement is a much more effective teaching device than punishment. Action seems to follow feeling, but really action and feeling go together. And by regulating the action, which is under the more direct control of the will, we can indirectly regulate the feeling, which is not. Thus, the sovereign voluntary path to cheerfulness if our cheerfulness be lost, is to sit up cheerfully and to act and speak as if cheerfulness were already there. Wow. That is the second way to make people like you. When you what? When you smile at them. The third way, if you don't do this, you will be headed for trouble. That is, remember and use the other people's name, other person's name. I think it's a bad thing to meet people whom you are acquainted with and can't remember their names. The most important sign in the universe to a person is their own name. You know how they slaughter some foreign names here in the United Kingdom, and the people won't make attempts to even try, but they just slaughter the names anyhow. It's African names, it's too mouthful. Yes, there are some European names that are mouthy, even worse off than African names. They are all full of consonants, no vowel in them, and you don't even know how to pronounce it. We are used to syllables, a vowel and a consonant joined together, and then you can see them combine, syllables combined together, making a word. But in some European names, you can't even see that. It's all consonant, Kriegzeg. You begin to wonder, Schwarzgaj. It's because Schwarzenegger has been popular. That's why we're able to pronounce his name. At first instance, you might not be able to pronounce his name. So attempting to pronounce people's names is one of the ways to win people and influence them positively. You know how you feel when people try to pronounce your name right? By that, they win you. They win you to their side, or you win them to your side. You have a sense of camaraderie between the two of you, or whatever. So many people are uncomfortable with people's names for the simple reason that when they hear the name the first time, they don't take the time or effort to get it right. They get embarrassed later on trying to admit their initial mistake. But the trick is to develop your own system for remembering names that works in with the way you walk. This may involve writing the name down as soon as you hear it, or having the person spell it out to you to make sure you have it right, or any of a number of other systems you can use. The trick is to have your own system and to work with it to remember names. So the ability to remember names is almost as important in business and social contact as it is in politics. You should be aware of the magic contained in a name. It's an identity, it's a form of identity. It's a form of creating an entity and to show that the entity is self-existing. This is the only unique item owned by the people we come into contact with, their names, that no other person in the world shares. To any person, their own name is the sweetest sound in the world. Oh, I remember my father. When my father would call me by another name, different to what everybody called me, that moment I felt very endeared to him. And when he called me, I knew I can do whatever I wanted to do. Because at that point in time, he's shown I'm in his good book. And he would call me not just, I don't even think he ever calls me Babatunde. But he calls me my middle name fully occasionally. He calls me the shortened form of my first name, Tunde. But then, occasions, moments of endearment do come occasionally. I will say, call me by my middle name. And when he calls me by that name, I know I'm in my father's good book. So good manners are made up of petty sacrifices, trying to remember people's name, Ralph Waldo Emerson says. Now, to recall a voter's name is statesmanship, to forget is oblivion. That's a politician. That's the politician's creed who says that. That says that. To recall a voter's name is statesmanship. Can you imagine if an eminent personally call you by your name among a group of people, you feel elated? Now we have come to the end of our broadcast for tonight on mental empowerment, awaken the leadership in you. You can get this book. It's a classic book, and it's still, the truth of it still rings true in all relationship. You need to win and influence people positively. Okay? Thank you for joining me tonight. I believe you have been tremendously blessed by the program tonight, and that I believe that you will join me again the next time. I'm stopping midway of part 2 of the book. I want to invite you to join us also next week during a 7-day program starting Monday the 17th to 23rd. And we'll be rounding it off with communion service, where we partake of the bread and the wine, the body of the Lord and the blood of Jesus. Join us every day, Monday to Saturday, 7 to 8 p.m. praying, looking at the different feast of the Lord, because the scripture says they are the feast of the Lord. They are not just feast of the Jewish people, but the feast of the Lord, and they are indicative of the timetable of the Lord, the agenda of God on the earth, either on a micro level or on the macro level. And so we want to key into the next agenda of God in the feast of the Lord, which is Pentecost. As we wait, as we tarry, as we pray before the Lord, Lord, send the rain. Pentecost is an harvest time. Send harvest to us, and it will definitely do. Don't forget to be of a blessing to us as we run this off tonight. Thank you for watching with me tonight at the Awaken the Leadership in You, as we started the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Thank you very much. God bless you. I really hope you join us on Sunday as well during our Sunday service, both online and in our local church here. Don't stay away from church. Come to church now that the embargo is lifted from gathering together. Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye bye.